For years, some financial experts have been promoting the idea of die broke, right? The belief that you should spend your money and enjoy your life now and in retirement, and that you leave very little behind so that you're here to enjoy the time with your kids while you're here. And then when you die, it's gone. And so they've already had fun times with you. And on the surface, it does sound appealing. I mean, who doesn't want to have more memories with their kids, more enjoyable times? After all, why do we work so hard and save so diligently and then never really enjoy the fruits of our labor? I mean, it's a really good question. The problem is that no one knows exactly when they're going to die or how long they're going to live. And today we're going to discuss the philosophy behind the die broke, as well as some of the unintended financial stress it can cause, especially later in life, as well as how longevity changes the retirement equation and what a more balanced approach may look like. So, hi, I'm Annette Bau, CFP and host of the Millionaire Insider podcast. For over 36 years, I have helped retirees and pre retirees create a financially secure life they love, both now and in the future. So if you want a coordinated retirement plan that offers greater clarity, confidence, and financial security, you are in the right place. For today's show notes, you can go to themillionaireinsider.com/174. Now, if you're ready for personalized retirement guidance, I recommend you start at themillionaireinsider.com/5Q. It's going to take you just a few minutes to answer a couple of questions, and it will help you to determine your next best step. And if you really are ready to create a retirement plan, these questions are designed to laser focus on where you are and, more importantly, what you need to do so that you can determine your next best step to creating more clarity, confidence, and financial security. So again, themillionaireinsider.com/5Q. The Millionaire Insider copyrights all materials and intellectual property. This information is for educational purposes only. It is not intended to replace any advisor or specialist or to provide any investment, financial, tax, retirement planning, or healthcare advice. Always consult with a qualified professional who is a fiduciary before making any financial decisions or changes to your plan. So today you're going to learn why the die broke has become so popular, and even when it can be dangerous. There's obviously some pros and there's some cons, and I want you to know both so you can make an educated decision. The risk of longevity and even outliving your money, which is a risk for a lot of people. How market downturns can accelerate retirement spending problems, and why flexibility matters more than really being precise or hitting that target. And then a smart way to enjoy retirement while maintaining financial security. Oh, so good. All right, so the first one, the biggest flaw in the die broke strategy is you don't know when you're going to die. This strategy assumes you can accurately predict how long you live. And the problem is many retirees underestimate longevity, and they don't take into account where we are from a technological and medical standpoint, to where, the good news is we're living longer. And the good news is they have cures to so many things. The bad news is we're living longer and they have cures to so many things, right? A healthy 65-year-old couple has a really good chance that one spouse is going to live well into their 90s. And living longer is a blessing, but also requires more financial resources. So we've got to be prepared for that. Running out of money at age 92 is not a success. And, dying broke isn't the problem. Retiring broke because you lived longer than you expected is. So we got to be really clear on that. So let's talk about one of the biggest risks, and it's longevity, right? The fact that you are going to live longer and, God forbid, live longer than the money you have. Previous generations often plan for 10 to 15 years of retirement, but today many retirees are saying 25, 35, even 40 years. And healthcare costs continue to increase, as do costs for healthcare and long-term care as you get older. Long-term care expenses are so much money, and inflation continues to reduce our purchasing power. I mean, inflation this month was 4.2%. I mean, my friends, that is a lot. And a lot of people are planning on inflation at around 2%. Now, people say, well, we get out of this war, oil price comes down, cost of goods come down. The problem with the cost of goods coming down is the fact that one of the biggest arguments against the tariffs was the fact that if they are not allowed, prices will never come down. And we're seeing exactly what happened in COVID, where the labor market strengthened. There were more people looking for jobs. Price of goods came down, and yet consumers did not experience it. Why? Because companies passed on those profits to those of us that own stock. And so it's like the wealthy are getting wealthier, the poor are getting poorer. And it's what's known as a K economy. And all you have to do is read history to see it does not end well. And it's so concerning to me. And I don't know why more people aren't concerned about it, because you cannot have a healthy society where you have a select group of people just getting more and more wealthy and other people struggling to pay their bills. It just doesn't work. And so it's going to be interesting to see what happens in the upcoming months. But I think there's a lot of people. I don't want to get into politics because I just so dislike politics. But will say this. I think so many people are so caught up on hating the other side, whatever side they're on, that they're not realizing the consolidation of power that's happening and the fact that this is such a play to make wealthier people wealthy. That's something you need to pay attention to, as well as the cuts that they're already talking about that are going to have to happen with Social Security. I've been harping the fact that they're cutting all the ways in which they fund it. And it's kind of interesting because, every politician, I'll never touch Social Security. I'll never touch Medicare. I'll never touch Medicaid. But they do. The latest report came out, said that if they don't do something, they're going to have to cut it by 22% in 2032. That number, that year just keeps coming down. So it's something that you got to pay attention to. There's a lot of people who would have a dire situation if they don't have Social Security. So I really encourage you, before you vote, you find out where somebody stands, and more importantly, find out how they voted. That, I think, is critical, because if they're not voting in alignment with what benefits you, then maybe you need to look at that. And if you have a lot of money and you kind of feel like it's only fair that those of us that have maybe more money than most people need to pay our fair share in taxes, then maybe you vote for that. I'd like there to be a balance. I mean, I don't love the fact of how much I pay in taxes. At the same time, I don't want a revolution to occur where people, the masses, start coming after people and basically killing them, which is what's happened in history. So there's issues to be aware of. The longer you live, the more important financial flexibility becomes, and you want a plan that creates that flexibility. All right, market declines can destroy a perfect die broke plan. Think about it. Retirement projections are based on assumptions. And the one thing we know is that we have not had a downturn in the market in like 18 years, almost 19 years. It's a problem. It's a big problem. It's a very, very big problem. Markets rarely cooperate exactly as we plan or want them to. And large withdrawals during bear markets, meaning when the market goes down, can really cause permanent damage on your portfolio over time. The sequence of returns risk is often overlooked. That's where you retire and the market immediately drops, but then after that it does well, but you just can never catch up. That's why I really like people easing into retirement. I like people having a plan to be able to figure it out, get used to that fixed income, really make sure they know where they want to live, all those things that are going to have such an impact on your retirement as compared to just going cold turkey and then figuring it out. The problem is that there are many things in life we can go cold turkey on and it works out fine. Your retirement is not one of them. And so don't let that be you. And again, you can go to themillionaireinsider.com/5Q to figure out what you should be doing and what to do next. A retirement plan needs room for error in case you don't get the numbers right. And it also needs enough guaranteed income that if you outlive expectancy and if you outlive your life expectancy, you're going to be okay. A retiree who planned perfectly at age 65 may face a very different circumstance after a major market correction if it's in their first few years of retirement. That's what the sequence of returns is. And the future is uncertain. Your retirement plan should account for uncertainty and unknowns. And God forbid you or your partner need medical care, long-term care, you got to have a plan for that. And when you're planning on dying broke, sometimes those big expenses that you weren't planning on can really wreak havoc. All right, the emotional side of financial security. Many retirees want more than just enough money, right? I mean, you want to be able to do what you want to do. One of the things we were just down at our condo that's overlooks the ocean, and it's just so fun to be able to do whatever you want to do. My sister was down there. We took them out to dinner, and it was really nice just being able to buy them dinner and do whatever we felt like doing. If we felt like going out to dinner, we did. If we felt like eating in, we did. It was just not an issue. And I thought that's the ideal retirement, not the retirement where you're constantly stressed and feeling like you can't spend money. But financial security creates freedom and confidence and that flow and that peace of mind that hopefully we all want. Having reserves allows you to help family members, support causes you care about or handle emergencies. I've shared with you right now, we're helping two different family members, one on my side and one on my husband's side. And we are very strict about what we do and the requirements, but thankfully we can help them. On my husband's side, his siblings are pitching in, so that's helping out. But right now there are a lot of people who are struggling and that really need help. And I think it's only going to get worse. And I think that, it's concerning. It's very concerning to me because there are so many people struggling. I share that, gas, we filled up our buggy and it costs almost more money than to fill up my car, $7 a gallon. It's just unbelievable. Most people sleep better knowing they have options, meaning knowing they have choices. What I want you to do is I want you to be enjoying your life now as well as in retirement. And I don't want you in retirement constantly stressed out monitoring your accounts. I share with you the happiest people I have worked with all had guaranteed income. So what you can do, as long as you have enough guaranteed income, then the rest of your money you can completely spend. That I don't have a problem with. And that's my husband's goal. It's kind of like we have enough guaranteed income and then all the other money we're just going to spend, which, it's funny because one of my sons, why are you still working? This is the one that spends a lot. And I go, well, how will I have money to leave you? He goes, oh, I never thought about that. It's a good idea. You're still working. My thing is I'd rather work and know I'm helping people than sit at home and worry about people. And so I'm just doing my part. And the reason I started working with people that weren't just really wealthy is because I really wanted to feel like I'm making a difference, like I'm really having an impact on people's lives. And it's just something that matters to me and it's part of my legacy. And so I hope you have one too, because peace of mind is, in my opinion, the most important aspect. We've got freedom, you've got choices, and you have peace of mind. All right. I think I've thought a lot about this. And one of the things I came up with is that the reality of it is that a better goal than dying broke is living well without fear of running out of money. And, retirement is about dying with the most money, but it's also not about spending every dollar by a certain date. The goal is really a balance. It's just to create reliable income you can count on so that you can do what you want to do. And it allows you to maintain flexibility. You can have a plan that then lets you adapt to changes that occur in your life. Because the one thing we know, there's going to be changes. There's going to be great people that are running this country and not so great people. And there's going to be people who, if you look at it, the one thing I expect as a lifelong Republican is the fact that when you have a Republican trifecta, you have somebody that's handling the debt. My God, we are hitting 40 trillion even before the 2-year mark. You guys, these numbers should concern anyone, regardless of your political affiliation. And, what's so funny is everyone always saying, oh, the Democrats, all they do is spend. Oh boy, I don't know that they've won that one. When you look at what's happening right now, anyone that is not concerned about the deficit is just not paying attention. It's so fascinating to hear that somebody, oh, I'm so conservative. Well, if you're conservative, then you're concerned about what's going on because it is long-term, it is very problematic and it's going to impact all of us. And how it's going to impact all of us is namely taxes, but also cost of goods, inflation. There's a lot of different factors. You look at Moody's downgraded us to a double A. I don't know why people aren't in the street screaming, but most people just don't get it. Most people don't get it until it affects their pocketbook or it affects their life. And then all of a sudden they're like, oh my gosh, I had no idea. So please be aware of that. When you vote, you need to be voting for someone who is going to help you, support you. I get it. If you have a ton of money and you're like, you don't really care about people, I get voting for somebody that's going to just benefit you. But at the same time, you got to look at the fact of economies and cultures that when poor people just can't take it, they can't feed their families, they can't afford housing, it's a problem. So we all need to be aware of it. It's not just a one off problem, it's a completely community problem, it's a cultural problem, it has an impact on a much bigger picture. And then the other goal is to really enjoy your money while protecting your future. I mean, what more can you ask for? Financial success isn't measured by how much you spend or leave behind. Now, maybe from your heirs it is, but it's really measured by your ability to live confidently now and in retirement, to really do what you enjoy doing. It's so funny because when you don't have as much money as you want, you just think what it'll be like when you do. And then you get that life and you're like, okay, so if I'm at the beach, then, we love one of my highlights is going for a walk on the beach. And we do that once or twice a day. I love sitting on our balcony and watching the sunset. I love just sitting inside my condo and watching the ocean. Things that don't cost any money. When I'm up in my cabin, we've got an incredible backyard and just sitting out there, just relaxing. It's just enjoyable. And things that aren't costing money, spending time with family and friends, spending time, as I mentioned, with my sister, or even like last week, my brother. I mean, we were 2.5 hours on the phone just chatting. And it was just nice to be able to do that, to really feel that I could do that and not feeling like I had the pressure that I had to be, even though I did feel pressure, like, oh my God, I have so much stuff to do before I leave town. Just being able to connect like that. And that's what I want you to get clear on. So, in summary, the die broke philosophy sounds so simple and it sounds awesome, right? For many of us who really feel it's our kids' responsibility to support themselves. But retirement rarely follows a simple script. And the real risk isn't dying with money. The real risk is living longer than expected and running out of it. And then going, what am I going to do? A successful retirement isn't about hitting zero at the exact right moment. It's about creating enough income, flexibility, and confidence to enjoy life without worrying about what happens if you live another 10, 20, or 30 years. And remember, your goal isn't simply to retire, it's to create a financially secure life you love now and in the future so you don't have to worry. Ooh, so important. So there you have it. This whole concept, it is so funny how many people are so into this. And some of the people that I see that are really into this, I think are going to end up retiring broke. Like they're just a little too into it and they have blinders on. Like they don't want to hear anything else. And I just laugh because there's influencers that are so into this. And it's just interesting to think, And there's a lot of people that look like they have money, they spend like they have money, but I see what happens on the back end. And rarely does it turn out great. So again, just be aware of it. So I want to thank you so much for joining me. I'm Anat Pa'u. All international copyrights are reserved. Bye for now.